So then we stopped in Rico because of KSJD radio, which they were just talking about in Cortez, has a new satellite station there. So the community was out for the station where they can just flip a switch 10 o'clock tonight, and the volunteer fireman who does some of the music show, we said, what are you going to do tonight? They flip it to Rico, and he does it from here. And he said, oh, you know, we'll just say it's going to be good. So that's community radio. So then we left there. That was just a drive-by of 10 minutes. And now we are here to celebrate KDUR and DCAT. And it's so wonderful to be with you as you've been with us for, I think, almost all of these 15 years. It has been an amazing journey. We started as the only daily election show in public broadcasting in 1996, and we thought we'd go for about 9 months because the election would happen and move on to other things. But the election did happen, and there seemed to be more demand afterwards than before for Democracy Now! Our approach was, you know, when we were first talking about doing Democracy Now!, I was in Haiti. There, people would be gunned down going to the polls, but they still went. And in this country, most people in 1996 didn't vote, and I was very curious why not, because I don't think you're apathetic. I don't think people around the country didn't care. I think one thing was there a real choice, but the other was people were involved in different ways. So we used the primaries in that year as a way to look at what people were involved in every state. So the demand for it was more even after the elections than before, so we kept on going and growing, and more stations started picking us up. And then that week of September 11th, 2001, we coincidentally began broadcasting on one public access station in New York. Similar to DCAT here, slightly larger scale. It's called MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. It had a direct line into the big old firehouse we worked out of at the time. Wonderful community media center right near Ground Zero. We were the closest national broadcast on the day of the attacks. And they just happened to have started with us that week. We first went on as emergency broadcasting each day, and then because we started broadcasting, I think this is where DCAT came into it, other public access stations wanted to air us. Now, we didn't want the news to be old, to put a VHS, those were the days, into an envelope and just send it off. Who knows when you get the news? So we started FedExing them. And then it was hundreds of these, so at least you get the news just a day late. And the more public access stations we went on, the more radio stations wanted us, and then NPR stations, and then PBS stations. And of course, we started on Pacifica Radio. Pacifica Radio, which was born more than 61 years ago in Berkeley, California. A war resistor named Lou Hill came out of the detention camps after World War II, and he said, there's got to be a media outlet not run by corporations that profit from war, but run by journalists and artists. And so Pacifica was born, not run by corporations, as the late dean at the Annenberg School at the University of Pennsylvania, George Gerbner, said, not run by corporations that have nothing to tell and everything to sell, that are raising our children today. And so Pacifica, the first station, KPFA, the second 10 years later, KPFK in Los Angeles, the third my station, New York, WBAI in 1960, 1970, KPFT in Houston, 1977, WPFW in Washington.